Yeah, it's pretty cool. We good, Marlon? Marlon's back. All right, we are here with Angela Gargano.
Wow, you're so scared to say it.
I was so nervous. You just said it to me too.
People say Gargano, that's why.
That's what I was thinking. Can't ever get it right. No, we're back. I haven't done a show in for a while now, and we got Marlon back, and I gave him a mic. Say what's up.
Yeah, I'm mic'd up. I'm here to steal the show.
He's in the corner though.
Yeah, I can't be on camera still, but
no,
I'm working my way up the ranks.
We're not there yet. I'm so happy you came. I was so excited to have you on and do another show. And so you just had recently moved to Austin, correct?
Yeah, in January.
How do you like it so far?
I'm obsessed with it. I mean, I've been coming for the past 2 years, just on and off, and I normally always extend my stay. And it was finally just one of those times where I was like, I legitimately came here not thinking I was going to move right away. And I was like, you know what? This is so dumb. So I just got an apartment, and I was like, I'm going to figure out the rest later. Yep. So it was pretty funny.
Let future Angela solve the problems.
Yeah, I'm like, we're just going to figure it out.
No, I love that. Yeah. And so was there a specific reason you wanted to stay out here?
I really think the biggest thing for me has been, I've been traveling the world since the pandemic, and I haven't really been able to find the community. Mm-hmm. I've always been kind of like a solo kind of person. I meet everybody. I'm always with everybody, but there's something about being here that I finally feel like I have a close friend group, and we all have a lot of the same interests, which is we're not really going out and partying and drinking. We're doing some really cool things. We're all entrepreneurs. So I feel like I finally found my people. So it's pretty great.
Well, I say that all the time about the city. It's probably the best entrepreneurial city I've ever been to. You're full of motivated people. Everyone's trying to hustle, and everyone can win out here. So that's
everyone
great.
wants you to win. That's the wild part, right? I was New Jersey, New York City. Not everybody wants you to win out
Super
there.
competitive. Yeah. Everyone it's a very greedy mindset. And no, I love it out here. I've been very fortunate to have what I have and meet really cool people, like-minded people like yourself that do it. And were you friends with them prior to moving here?
So fun fact, when I decided I was just going to sell all my things and travel the world, I actually met somebody through Ninja Warrior, and he was like, I'm actually getting a house in Colorado with my friend. Do you want to do that? And I was like, you know what? Why not? So it was me and these two guys. It was very much like, if you've ever seen the show New Girl, very much like that. But they were in this men's group on Monday that he had actually created. His name was Alex Weber. He actually created it. It's called Men We Admire. And I met those guys through his men's group. So it was pretty interesting how it all kind of lined up.
It's amazing what networking can do, and who you'll meet, and who knows when you'll see them again.
Well, interesting, because the experience in Colorado wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, but I think it was leading me exactly where I needed to be, type in a way. So it's interesting.
And now you're here.
Now I'm here.
And so, I definitely am interested to get into the Ninja Warrior aspect of what you do, but what's kind of your history in athletics?
Wow, yeah, I have it's so funny. Someone the other day was like, you've lived a lot of lives. I was like, I definitely have. I actually started off in college gymnastics. So I went to school in Rhode Island College Gymnastics, Division III school, loved it. It was awesome. So was doing gymnastics there. Then my sophomore year, I believe it was, I actually maybe it was my junior year, I tore my ACL, and so that was awful. And that was really the only big injury I've ever had in my entire life. So I was kind of like, wow, this is a big one to have first.
It's the worst one.
Yeah. So I was able to come back and do another round of gymnastics, but it was never really what I wanted. So when I got out of college, I was actually a biochemist. So I was actually, lab coat goggles for a while. And they're pretty wild. That's what I was doing. Yeah. But I was itching to do something else. So then I went up getting into fitness competitions, which is the ones where you're in heels walking on stage.
Bodybuilding?
It's basically bodybuilding, but why I got into it was because you got to flip on stage.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to flip and do cool routines and stuff like that. So the bikini stuff, all that stuff, I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm definitely a bro kind of girl. I'm like, I don't know how to walk in heels. You're giving me a pair of stripper shoes, and I'm like, I don't know if that's going to happen. So got into that for a while, and I was actually really big in that for a very long time until I won the biggest title in the pro division called Miss Fitness America. So I got that in 2016. Then I went up getting into Ninja Warrior kind of accidentally, did that for a bunch of seasons. I've done Spartan races. I'm doing the High Rocks this weekend. I've really kind of I don't know if it's I'm an adrenaline junkie or something. I just keep doing whatever the next thing is, and that really sparks me up.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, just staying active continuously is so big, and something that we try to motivate people to do. And it's one thing I'm trying to get more out here is, and just in myself, is learning all the different sports. And so that's great that you're doing that. And so how did you initially get into Ninja Warrior?
So like I said, it was definitely accidentally. One of my mentors and friends who was doing the fitness competitions with me, she was deciding to try out, and I was helping her. I love videography stuff, so we were helping her make her video because you have to make a submission. It's a TV show. It's not really a sport per se yet.
There's no like audition or qualification you have to do.
No, it's legitimately like you put in a video, and if they like you go on. Like you could really have no ability and be able to get on the show. I know it sounds.
I'm doing it.
It sounds what you can totally do it. I always tell people to go because why not? So while I was doing that, my friend who was helping me was like, you should really try out for this. Like you are really, really good at gymnastics. You are a great bar worker. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to step on this, my friend's toes as she's trying out. You kind of feel like you don't want to get in somebody's way type of thing.
Like steal their thunder.
Thunder. And then I was like, you know what? Whatever. He helped me put the video in, which I did. And then after that, I got a call and she didn't. Which is really rough. Yeah, which really shows a lot of how people's characters are, right? Because for me, like if it was the other way, I would have like shown up and came to the show.
Oh, she's salty about it?
I mean, I guess a little bit. Yeah. So, yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I'm so grateful for her and all the mentorship she had. So I went onto the show and I actually legitimately started to fall in love with it. But I had to figure out how to ninja within like 2 weeks because they don't give you like a long time. So I was like trying to find gyms and like, there was a gym in someone's backyard they had built. So I found that somehow and I was like training out there, like in the woods. So that was super interesting. But yeah, I definitely fell in love with it. And after like started finding there is a ton of gyms. There's actually one in Austin called Austin Ninjas. And I'm actually doing a series on ABC with cool different gyms, which we're taking them to the ninja gym. And the idea is to show people that as adults, you can go to that ninja gym and don't feel intimidated. Like, go and
want to check it out. Yeah.
Go check it out. And so I started going to these gyms. I had to train super late at night most of the times. And just kind of got really addicted to the community and just climbing on things and also swinging around and all that.
No, it's definitely, if there's anything I've learned from watching, I wouldn't say super, but I'm kind of unfamiliar with how it works. But I've noticed that some of the hardest training doesn't really require how much weight you can lift. It's endurance. And those competitions require a ton of endurance. And I did watch one of the ones you did, and it was like all the things that go into it: grip, like cardio,
agility.
being able to, all that stuff. And so, are there different types of competitions in it, or is it just course? Like, are they timed or are they untimed?
So you go out. It's changed a little bit because of like COVID and stuff. But basically, you go in and you compete on the first qualifier round, and it's only 5 obstacles. And then if you make it to the top 30, then you'll compete. Normally, what it used to be is you used to compete then the first 5, and there's more in the back, so you'd keep going. So you'd have to compete twice in one day or one weekend. So that's what people I guess don't fully understand. Like we're doing that all. Like I know it's a week episode break, but we're doing it in the same day normally. So you go through those obstacles. It's the furthest and the fastest that gets through. So first and the fastest, and then the top 5. No, is it top 5? Top 5 women they always put through no matter what. But us top 5 women have been like getting in the top anyway, so pretty badass.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's not. Well, I was just wondering because while watching it, I see people like celebrating taking their time in between like the obstacles, and I'm like, if they're timed, why are they celebrating or doing
sometimes it's the first and the fastest. Sometimes people are just really excited to be on the show and like they want to take their time to get through the obstacle. We do have, I think it's like a 30-second where they'll say literally like the producers on the side, gotta go. So they make you go. But yeah, so normally you want to go as fast as you can. But for me, when I did it, especially, and you probably might have seen, but I tore my ACL on the show also, my other one, great. So I tore my other ACL on the show. And so for my comeback, I did take my time because I was celebrating every single landing. And I was like, whoa, like I finished this.
I think that was the one I watched. Yeah.
Yeah. That one was a really big moment for me because I really did not think I was going to be able to come back in 11 months after that. And every single landing, I was like almost like praying. I'm like, oh my God. Because I didn't think I was going to tear my ACL that season before. I was so strong. It felt amazing. It was just that one little thing for some reason that day that decided to tweak and blow it out.
It seems how it always goes is some of the strongest athletes just have a weird turn or you see it a lot in football. Like they get hit wrong and it's
like nothing you could really do to prevent it. It's just like it just is what it is.
Yeah. And so Today's episode is brought to you by ReGen Health and Wellness. The team at ReGen Health and Wellness is devoted to helping patients revitalize, repair, and renew the optimal blueprint of yourself. They provide an individualized and concierge model of healthcare, empowering patients to optimize their health span and overall quality of life. It's said no one can escape father time, but almost everyone can make the conscious decision and commit to living better and healthier lives. It begins with a mindset. They offer both in-clinic and telemedicine consultations. So whether you're due for a routine checkup or struggling to hit your health and fitness goals, go online or give them a call to schedule your appointment today. How long have you been competing in?
So I was like trying to think about this the other day. Yeah. My first season for American Ninja Warrior was season 7. So, and they're on season like 14 right now or something.
And you're still going?
I actually got invited back this year, but I turned it down, which is pretty crazy. But I just felt like my focus has been in some different areas lately. So I was like, you know what? Like, I don't need to go back on right now. Like, I'm focusing on some other areas of my life instead.
What's the farthest you've gone in?
I've gotten to finals twice. Again, the first time I made it to finals, but I tore my ACL, so I couldn't compete. But the second one I made it to finals and was able to get through almost to the first half of it. So that was pretty cool. Like, I was pumped.
Yeah, well, so when you tore your ACL, what was that process like as far as the recovery process goes? What did you have to go through?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I tore my left one in college. So that was, first of all, like a process in its own. So I kind of knew what I was getting myself into when I tore the right one. But it's like a whole situation. Like before you go, you have to rehab your leg before you even go into surgery. Then you get surgery. Then you're just trying to make sure you can get your leg straight again and bend it and get all the mobility back. And a lot of patience and time with that. Like I definitely am a very stubborn person and I just want to just go. It forces you to slow down, take a step back and kind of really understand how your body actually works and moves.
So kind of like a blessing in disguise.
It's so funny. My college coach said that to me the first time I tore my ACL. He's like, "This is a blessing in disguise." Because I was definitely a nut. Like I was crazy. I was just like throwing things, full send all the time. And he's like, slow down, whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. But yes.
I'm the best.
I'm like, I got to do it. I got to try this triple backflip. Yeah. He's like, no, you don't. You don't need to try that right now. Like whatever. So yeah, it definitely humbles you, takes you down and makes you really understand your body more. So definitely a blessing.
Yeah. And probably the patience of it too, as well as not overdoing it, overtraining because not superhuman. So what does a training regimen look like now?
So my training regimen is like very different right now because I've just been trying to enjoy moving. And it's because I'm not really competing in anything and stuff like that. Well, I guess I'm competing in Hotworx. I was going to say Hotworx. Hotworx I'm competing this weekend, I guess.
For people that don't know, what is Hotworx real quick?
So Hotworx is kind of a mix between obstacle course racing and CrossFit in a way. And it's a 1 kilometer run and then there's 8 obstacles, 8 events that you do in between. So you might be doing the ski erg or the row or walking lunges. So you have to run in between all of those. Yeah, the running is the worst part about it. I'm like, honestly, like the events are fine, but it's like, oh, I gotta run.
Because I've been seeing it grow rapidly. Like I've seen a lot of it. I've actually talked to the main company about doing like co-hosting an event out here, and it definitely looks fun. And they have a community. Like it's really big, and a lot more people are doing it. Yeah,
I think the biggest issue with it right now, personally. So I've been with Hotworx since the beginning. So 2019, I actually did the first Hotworx in New York City. They had us do stuff on the Empire State Building. They had us do stuff in the actual pier. I mean, I died. They put me in a pro female. I couldn't even move half the weight. I think I might have cried at the end of it, honestly. Yeah. But I did it. Got through it. I think the issue with it right now is that it still looks pretty intimidating to a lot of people, and they're starting to advertise it as this race for everyone. So I would love to see them just really, encapsulate and show the different levels of people that are doing this, and that they're doing it for fun. Just like when you see a Spartan race, right? You see people like carrying each other and stuff like that, and showing people that this is something fun that you can do. Like. We're doing it this weekend. My friend Aaron and I are doing it as a double. We're doing it together. And we're just going to have fun with it. We're not trying to go crazy nuts and die with it, which you can. You could totally do that. But I just definitely want people to know that it's not as intimidating as it looks. You can totally do it.
Is there a prize or any type of placement as far as standings go?
I think there's cash prizes for the pro division and stuff like that. I'm honestly not fully sure. I've always just kind of had fun with it.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely seen it. I'll probably go check it out. I need to start getting more active in these things and trying them. I'm just your typical, I'm with Marlon half the time, 9 to 5 or what is it, Monday through Friday, just lifting weights. And so
I think Josh would need a prize.
Yeah.
Insight to compete in one of those things.
Yeah.
I need some sort of incentive. No, and so kind of what we were talking about previously was, so what does your normal training regimen look like now compared to when you're training for like a Ninja Warrior competition?
So when I'm doing Ninja Warrior competitions, we definitely, so it's a very interesting training schedule because you don't want to overtrain. So I think I see what all the time with these ninjas is that they're doing too much, way too much. And that's great. They're doing all this crazy stuff, but at the end of the day, you only need to kind of know the basics, and you need to be like really good at those basics when it comes to ninja. So for me, we used to do, I think one night we would do upper body ninja. We call it like ninja Tabata. So we'd actually go through different obstacles for like, it was like 30 seconds on, a minute off. And then we would like switch up and just go around. So that'd be grip obstacles in different types of ways, climbing, getting your grip strength back. So that'd be one day. Another day we'd be doing agility, because that's, if you see the obstacles for the footwork, it's always like a fast agility obstacle. It's never like this like really slow like type situation. It's almost like you gotta run and you gotta be like on top of these little pillars and make sure they don't like
they like bounce around and stuff.
So you gotta learn how to do that. So we'd have an agility day. Then we would do a full course run through day. And we'd set up courses that are very similar to what we've seen before. So if you see right now, the beginning obstacles, like these little steps that come up. So we'd set up something similar to that, steps up to a rope, go, and then do the next thing, If we fail, you just continue on. Instead of when you do ninja, you just stop.
Yeah.
And then I would always make sure that a lot of rehabby work, just, single leg work for my legs, sprinting and stuff like that. I didn't do a ton of like running and stuff like that. It's really the course runs. And that's what I try and tell people too. Like if they're going to compete in ninja, you can do the obstacles individually. That's great. Like practice them all, have fun with them, play around with them. But when you have to put them together in an obstacle course race, it's way different. Yeah. So making sure that you're not only doing them individually, but then have a time where you're trying to do it, that endurance aspect, like one after the other, and seeing if you can keep holding out with it.
Do they like show you what obstacle course you're going to do prior, or you just show up and you're like, all right, figure this out as we go?
Yep. You show up and it's like, yep. And it used to be a little easier because it wasn't like inside, and it would be outside, and we would kind of be like sneaking up, and we would be like in the woods with binoculars trying to see what they were setting up. I swear to you. And then people would literally, these ninjas are great. The community, they would build whatever they thought they were making in like that day and be like, well, okay, we can test them out in this gym. But now it's inside, and you really can't. You legitimately have no idea what they're doing.
That's crazy. No, I definitely want to go check out you said there's a gym here that.
Yeah, it's called Austin Ninjas. So I'm actually going there on Tuesday. I'm again doing this ABC show. The topic is 3 gyms that will change the way you think about fitness. And I'm taking them to a ninja gym, more like weightlifting gym, and then to a functional gym. And I'm showing people that there's different ways you can work out and to not be scared to show up to these things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true. I've definitely tried to promote, like, not, is including myself as well, to get out and do different types of exercises and workouts. And, that's something I know I'm trying to do myself. So I'm definitely gonna go check out the ninja gym.
I'll let you know when we're probably gonna get people together. I'm super excited.
Totally about it. Yeah. Marlon, you want to go?
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah. That sounds like an episode of Just Your Average Joe to me.
Yeah, we
can do it. We can totally do that. Yeah, that'd be super fun. I'll take you to ninja.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Get you up the wall.
Oh, not me though. Definitely. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
You'll be a special guest. Yeah. And so are you still doing recovery work and everything now, just keeping the ACLs like healthy? And
so I really make sure currently I'm really making sure that I'm doing a leg day like twice a week. I personally hate doing legs because it's just so hard for me. I just feel like that's like, for some reason, my legs have always just been the hardest part of my body. Like my upper body's been pretty easy, like going. It's my lower body. So I train. I have my friend here, Corey. I meet up with him every Thursday. We always do some kind of leg day, doing a ton of ice and recovery and stuff like that on that end.
You ever do like the cryotherapy stuff too?
I don't really love cryo as much as I just love doing the ice bath. I just feel like you get way more out of it. I know it's like more annoying to do it, but the ice bath, I feel like you get much more out of.
It's definitely humbling though. Like I've never enjoyed sitting in ice tubs, but it does, I agree, has like probably one of the best recovery methods as far as like breaking down the lactic acid and soreness and things like that. And so outside of today's episode is brought to you by Avatar Nutrition. It is always a treat to show some love to our sponsor, Avatar Nutrition. Avatar is actually owned by my friend Mark, who is a lifting buddy of mine from the gym. What I didn't realize at the time is that his app has been used by close to 200,000 people and they've used it to lose over 2.5 million pounds of pure body fat. What's really special about Avatar is that it's a complete service delivered through a super easy to use app. See, Avatar is the OG in the macros game and created a process that makes counting macros both fun and simple to stick to long term. You've got unlimited support from their community and experts on staff, and they are in the business of giving their clients results that last. Try it free on the App Store or Google Play Store for 2 weeks, and if you love it as much as I do, it's just $9.99 a month after that, or $97.99 for the annual rate if you want even more of a discount. If you're a coach, trainer, or you own any kind of business and want to use Avatar to facilitate game-changing nutrition coverage for your people, Avatar is a program for groups too. Just contact them through their website to learn more at www.avatarnutrition.com. Hotworx and Ninja Warrior, are you planning on competing in anything else?
Right now, I'm just kind of like hanging out. I mean, again, I've done so much in these past couple of years that I'm just kind of chilling out a little bit more. I'm focusing more on like my business stuff and things like that. I might do another Spartan because it's fun. Yeah. So I might as well do it. And being here in Austin, it's great because like Hotworx is going to be fun because we're going as a group. So we're all going to hang out and like die together. It's going to be great.
We're all dead together.
We're basically just going to die together.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
So, no, that's cool. I mean, it's probably the best city for like building those communities, and it's so easy to meet people out here.
So easy,
and everyone just wants to have fun like that and do like team sports. And I love that Austin's starting to embrace that and add a lot more things like the Spartan races, Hotworx. There is a Spartan race coming up, I think.
Yes, it's like May. I think that's the one that my friends were like, you should just do it. I'm like, maybe I will do it. Like, why not?
I've never done one. I suck for having a brand called Austin Fitness.
Yeah, community. You gotta do it. You gotta do a little bit of everything. Yep. Like, I mean, try it, and again, like go. And I think that some people, I think they need to go do these things again and be all out, like crazy, whatever. Just do it for fun. Like, why not?
I know you're totally right. Yeah. It's it's just getting out of people just I think struggle getting out of their comfort zone and doing something that's unusual. And even as like trainers will always tell people, like potential clients, it's important for them to just get comfortable being uncomfortable. So take my own advice on that. And so you're focusing on your business. What exactly is the business? Are you training? Are you doing?
So my business is very interesting. Yeah. So my first business, so before the pandemic, this is pretty interesting. I was teaching females pull-ups online.
Female pull-ups?
I'm teaching females pull-ups online.
Okay.
So it's called Pull-Up Revolution. And legitimately every female that would come up to me would be like, oh my God, I love your arms. I've always wanted to get a pull-up. And I'm like, all right, let's get it. Like, let's do it. Yeah. So we started doing it. I started doing it a lot in person. And then I, again, started kind of looking online. And I was like, there's legitimately nothing out here for females that are like, it's not intimidating and not just like a rinky-dink, stupid pull-up thing. Yeah. So I started creating it. And, as I was, training these people, like kind of figuring out like how I wanted it to be laid out and stuff like that. And it's just like grown over the years. And then when the pandemic hit, like everyone got pull-up bars in their house. So I was just like, all right, let's go. So I made Pull-Up Revolution. I've gotten over 500 women their pull-ups, which is awesome. I love seeing them crush their pull-ups. It's so fun. And then after that, people were like, okay, now what? Like, what can we do with you? And I'm like, oh, shit, I don't know. I'm like, I didn't think about that, So then I threw together this thing called Strong Feels Good, which is now a membership where they come in, they get workouts monthly. It changes every single month, but our focus is on strength and feeling good, and we don't allow them to weigh themselves. And it's not like the typical like, let's get a bikini body and lose weight type situations. Like, let's get strong and feel freaking amazing and do awesome things.
Oh, I love that.
So that's now my main focuses are that. And then I also do a bunch of stuff with like brand deals and videography, whatever. But my main two things focusing on an hour Pull-Up Revolution and Strong Feels Good.
No, that's awesome. Cause I feel like women are intimidated to do upper body. Like every time you go to the gym, a majority of women are usually just doing legs, squats.
I'm so opposite. So funny.
Yeah. And no, that's what I'm saying is I love that because I think that they kind of struggle with like a couple things that and you've probably heard this too. The old, I don't want to get bulky like a man. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, it's not what happens.
It's very hard.
Yeah. And I think that's a great message you're putting out there. And women they struggle with pull-ups. And
once they get it, what's really cool is it opens the door to so many other things, right? It's not about the pull-up. It really isn't. It's awesome. You come in and get the pull-up. They'll get one pull-up. They'll probably get 2 pull-ups, 3 pull-ups. Oh my God. And then it's like, wait, I just did that. What else can I do in my life? And that's not only for, you know, fitness, but that's life in general. Yeah. So it's this whole concept. That's why we call it pull-up revolution, because it really does revolutionize the way you feel about your entire body. Everything feels different once you finally get your pull-up. And then I've seen people now, they did pull-ups. Now they're like, oh, you know, I'm going to try some kettlebells. Now they feel more confident that they could do that because they started off with something that was impossible. So I think it opens the doors to so many different things. So I'm a huge fan of getting women their pull-ups.
No, that's great. I mean, I do see that a lot of people struggle with that. Like, and then once they get that little win, then it's just building on top of that. And you know, its possibilities are endless. And so how long have you been doing the pull-up one? Just pre-COVID is when it started?
Yeah, pre-COVID, I started that. Again, I've lived many lives. At one point in Rhode Island, I owned a gym for a couple of years, shut down the gym, started the online stuff. So it's
just like was it like a studio or like a full?
Yeah, it was a pretty big gym. It was a functional like training center type situation. I had that for like 2 or something years. I realized quickly that like I did not love owning a gym. I mean, I loved the people. Yeah. My people were I loved them so much, but I was like, I am not ready to be settled in Rhode Island. I have much more that I want to do. So, and online at first was like not really a thing. So, I think I got into it and people were like, kind of like, wait, what are you doing? Like type of thing. And I was like, no, like online's the way to go because then you can go anywhere.
Yeah. So let me ask you, how many pull-ups can you do?
Everybody asks me that question. It's so funny. I put it on the website now because it's just like people keep asking me it.
It's an FAQ. It's number one.
Yeah, it's literally like FAQ. How many pull-ups can Angela do? It's like so it's pretty funny. So the max I've done is 26, and this is a really funny story actually. This was in this thing called the Pull-Up in the Park Jam in Brooklyn, New York. And I showed up there because someone just told me to do it. I didn't know what the heck I got myself into, but it was super cool to meet this community of people. I get there, I'm like, there's only a couple females, all guys, all like jacked, like calisthenic-y, whatever. And I was the first one to go, so I just like go. I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna go out there like, screaming and yelling, and just the energy is so great. And then there's a couple other events they make you do, like 2 other ones, which is really fun. And then at the end, they were like, okay, you tied with somebody. I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, you have to do a tiebreaker. I'm like, I didn't expect to do any more. So like,
I physically can't lift myself.
I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you know what's crazy is I did an event here back in October, and I met these guys in Miami, and they actually live in New York, and they're calisthenic
they're crazy. They probably were there.
Yeah, they're they go by they call themselves the Saiyan Boys.
Oh, and I don't know.
Yeah, they're big on YouTube. But they were guests down here, and I mean, it's unbelievable watching these guys like do muscle ups like nothing. And they went down to 6th Street, and there's a guy that does like the hanging pull up thing, and they all crushed it. And the guy was like, didn't have the money to pay him, and
he's like, I was not expecting you guys to come here.
All 3 of them just like smoked it. And then but it's unbelievable watching that. And they don't lift weights. Like I took them to a gym, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And I thought they were messing with me, and they were like, no, seriously, like we don't lift weights. So
see, that's another thing I've been getting a little frustrated with lately, right? Especially with women and stuff like that. All these, you know, you go on Instagram, and I always scroll through. I have a ton of trainers, and I respect every single trainer that I follow, but I do not like when they're like, you have to lift heavy. No. I don't agree with that. Like, I don't think you have to. Okay. Is it beneficial? Yes, it can be beneficial in so many different ways, but I think it's getting really frustrating to me when people are like, yeah, you have to lift heavy to see results. And if you're a trainer and you're not letting your clients lift heavy, then whatever. There's different ways to work out. Yeah. So I don't think that's fair to say. I don't think it's fair to be like, you have to. Because I personally, my body does not do great with lifting heavy. Like, I definitely do weights and stuff like that, like sometimes, but I'm more of the calisthenic person, and my body feels good, and I feel great with that. So I get it really frustrated when people are putting like this fitness into certain boxes. Yep. It has to be like this. It does not have to be like that.
Yeah, it don't have to be anything. There's so many forms of ways to exercise. And, you know, my particular favorite is just going and lifting weights in the gym, but I couldn't agree more. Like there are way other beneficial ways for people to get strong and feel in shape, or not feel, but get in shape. And I hate that. That's one of the things I always preach about on here, is trying to get rid of that like kind of materialistic outlook and that misinformed outlook of where, this female or this guy is super jacked or ripped, or they're sexy, and this is, to look like that, it's just to do this. And it's like, it's not. Like, everyone's different. Everyone's body's different. Everyone moves different. They respond to things differently. And to put it, like you just said, in a box it's just dishonest, and it's kind of fucked up, and I hate that. And
it's annoying me. Yeah. I'm especially getting really annoyed with it lately, honestly, when I'm looking at all this stuff in there. I'm just like, this is really like frustrating to me, because you're making, also sometimes I sit there and I'm like feeling like, wait, should I having my clients be doing all this crazy? I'm like, no, they actually don't need to do that. Like, they don't need to. Like,
yeah, it's everyone's different. You know, it's responding. A good buddy of mine, Zach Bitter, he was actually the first guest on the show. He's an ultra marathon. In fact, I think he had a world record for running 100 miles, the fastest. But he, this thing's gonna drive me nuts. But he was saying the best trainers are the ones that adjust their programming around the client and not make the client basically adjust themselves around the program. And I think that fits in kind of what you're saying, is like, you should be listening to the client and how they respond to things. And yeah, just telling them to just lift heavy weights is crazy. I remember there was a trainer. I had a friend who had a trainer, and she showed me his programming, and the last set said like 3 sets, and it just said heavy AF. Okay. I was like, what? That makes no sense. Today's episode is brought to you by CBD Online Xpress. CBD Online Xpress is a fresh, up-and-coming CBD company that strives to offer the highest quality products at an affordable price to help you in your everyday life. They offer a variety of products such as tinctures, edibles, flour, and even their new recreational line, Oxed Up. They also have plans to introduce water and an energy drink later this year. Go to cbdonlineexpress.com and get your products today. Is that you, Marlon? Are you the trainer that did that?
Nah, definitely wasn't me. Definitely. But I mean, it's okay to have a niche as a trainer and, yes, you know, like express your style and what you think is fine. But it doesn't mean other fitness is wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm getting, like, I get frustrated. Like, I've had people come to me and say, I want to be able to squat this much. I'm like, I am the wrong trainer for you. And that's fine. I send them off, because, I mean, the goal for all of us trainers should be to make the client successful. So if that's not with me, and I'm like, you know what, I know somebody who's going to be way better for you, that is more honest, and you're going to get way more clients because you did that.
Yeah, that's great. So if someone is looking to train with you and they reach out, like, what is it that they should expect from you?
So again, right now, I don't do any type of one-on-one training at all right now, but they would just
go. Is it online?
It's all online. They either go into the membership or they do the pull-up program. If they do Strong Feels Good, my Golds program, there's coaching in there. So there's me and 2 other coaches in there. It's in an app called True Coach. You probably are familiar with it. Yeah. So we go in and we do check-in on them. They can send in videos. We can make adjustments for them. We can make modifications. We have one client right now who, I mean, I love her to death. She's got all sorts of issues. And you know what? We're like, what do we need to adjust? We'll figure out what we need to do to just keep you moving in some kind of way. So that's the one way people work with me right now. I'm like, don't do one-on-ones anymore, unfortunately.
It is time consuming.
I didn't pay my dues.
Yeah.
You know, I've done my 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night, training and trade through all different types of people. Yeah. I mean, was
that in person too?
Oh yeah, I've done in person. I've done, you know, I've trained elderly, I've trained athletes, I've trained all types of people. And I think that as a trainer, also, I think that if you're an online trainer and you haven't done that yet, you probably should do that first, because the only reason I know what I'm doing is because I did that in person first.
I'm not just making all those trainers up. Before they get into online training, I always say, make sure you like get comfortable in person.
Because you start to understand like certain things. Like there's stuff when I teach live on, like, you know, I taught live on women's health this morning. Like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're messing up because I've seen it a million times. It's because I've been there and I've seen it. So I definitely think that if you're a trainer, if you're listening to this and you're a trainer, definitely get the in-person stuff first, because I feel like you can't just go online and just expect to know like everything right there.
Yeah. Well, and you have the experience and the credibility. I feel like there's a lot of people that, you know, one thing that always annoys me is like you get the people that work out once and then they are like, they start a fit page and now they're a coach. And it's like, there's so much more. Like, you have to get experience. And I've told people that want to get into training, I'm like, you know, I have mixed feelings on certifications. I think that it does add to a certain extent of credibility, but it's really experience. And I think that's what it comes down to. It's your own experience and it's experience working with people. So I'll always tell them, you know, go start in like a corporate gym, you know, where you're not liable, but you can learn, you know, follow people, then maybe go to a private gym or a more like locally owned gym and ask questions, shadow people, things like that. And, you know, gradually get into training, not just, you know, jump online, put a bunch of cookie cutter bullshit together mislead people and say.
Yeah, I mean, I shadowed somebody for a while. I mean, I just sat and watched them. And then I remember the first day she was like, okay, it's your time to do the eval now. And I was like, oh
boy. Yeah.
I was like, you're gonna, I think we're gonna warm up first.
Yeah. What do I do?
I don't know what to do.
Marlon, I don't know if you knew this. I was actually a trainer for a year at an LA Fitness in Tacoma, Washington.
Ooh.
And it was not good. I have a lot of respect for trainers though, but it was, I had to shout out. In fact, my boss, her name was Jillian, and she was great. And one of the things I learned was to basically make it more personal, interpersonal, like actually take people into account of how they feel, their injuries, things like that. Like not just look at them as a number and try to just get through the session, things like that. And so anytime I've like worked with trainers or like consult to them on marketing and stuff, I always tell them, don't take someone on if, you're not going to take the time to listen. And
at the end of the day, they're people.
Yeah.
It's like, all remember that. And, and I remember that too, even with my program now. So for me, I'm at that point in my business where we're trying to scale it and make it even bigger. I have a great solid foundation. And there's sometimes I'm getting so frustrated where I'm just like, oh, like it's so hard sometimes to scale to a certain point. But I look around and I'm like, wow, these people are messaging me with like, wow, the quality of this program is really good. I'm feeling really good. And I'm like, that's, if you want to think about what you're rich in, I'm like, I'm rich in that. I'm rich in the fact that like, look, when they come in, they know that we give a shit about them and everything that I do is put into them. And I was like, this is going to scale because of that. It's not going to scale because I'm like, let me just try and throw as many people and get as much money as possible. Yeah. Like, okay, cool. Like you can do that. Right. And then you do a shit job and they're all going to leave. So it's like, let's, my clients right now, and these programs have been there for like 2.5 years. They don't leave.
Yeah. So you have a great retention rate.
The retention rate is insane for what we're doing right now. It's, and I look back on it and it's so cool. Like they're messaging me. They're like, I can't believe I've been here with you for 2 years. I'm like, my head. I'm like, me too.
Really? Sorry. Oh, well, we getting calls.
Spam.
And I bet your clients know each other. I bet a lot of them are referrals and things like that too.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, they and we're starting that now. We're actually reaching out to them right now. We're telling them like, hey, we've been in business for, so it's so funny too. Okay. I feel like also if you want to talk about online space, right? Everyone makes it seem like they're making like a ton of money. Okay. That's really interesting because, you're actually not, especially at first when you're doing online training, right? It's awesome. Like I have a great amount of people would kill to have the amount of people I have, but the overhead I am paying to keep the quality and to keep the whatever. Oh yeah. I legitimately messaged my whole crew the other day and I was like, listen, we're breaking even. Yeah. That's awesome. Like I'm so pumped, right? But how do we scale this? And I was like, it's going to be through you. I was like, and I would love for you guys. So now they're gonna talk about it more. We're giving them like a cool like referral program and stuff like that. Cool. They love it already. So we're just like let's show this community to everybody else. Yep. Eventually, yes, I would love for me to be like, yes, it's making so much. But I get so frustrated too, even online with coaches right now. You're seeing it, especially for me on TikTok right now. I don't know why it keeps coming up. It's like I made $100K in a month, and I was like, yo, bro, that does not happen.
Refer them to IRS.
Yeah.
Say, I'm like, getting audited.
I'm like, that does not happen. I mean, I mean, it could happen, like, obviously, once in a while, those cases, but that does not happen all the time. The biggest thing is make sure you have a quality damn product. Like, your product better rock, and you better be able to take care of those people because they are people.
Yeah. It just takes, I mean, we live in a digital age. Like, it takes one bad experience to go viral. And then, I mean, what was it? We've talked about it before. There's a girl. The state of Texas is suing up in Dallas.
I saw that. You see that? For those detox teas or whatever?
Well, no, she was, what was she doing, Marlon? She was giving out programming.
Exactly. So she was giving out like very loose end programming, and she was advertising like preventative disease. You know how that works? Mm-hmm. So like she's taking people that are like pre-diabetics and saying like, hey, I can reverse this and whatnot. And I don't know. There's some more things that happened, but she did a bad job and some people got hurt.
Not cool.
Now she's getting sued.
Yeah.
She's getting sued.
I've actually been sued before also.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I have not, thankfully.
Yeah. So make sure you all, if
lawyer,
I don't know like who your audience is, but if you're trainers, like make everyone sign something always. Yeah. I got sued because this woman at my gym, and this, mind you, she sued me 3 years after the incident because they can do that. So just FYI, if you're not sued now, you could get sued like randomly. Yeah. But she ran through my wall at my gym. I swear to you. We were all doing sprints, and she just didn't most people just turned away from the wall. Not this girl. She went right through it. Yeah. She broke her wrist, everything like that.
Roadrunner did.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden 3 years later, I get like a notice, and I was like, "You're being sued." I'm like, "Oh wow, great." But stupid. I mean, that's why you have insurance.
She must have needed to like make rent or something. I hate people like that.
if you were hanging on my rig in the gym and it fell on you, absolutely. Like that's what my insurance is for. But you ran through my wall. I had to get the wall fixed.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole thing. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
So how many coaches do you have for the online program?
So Strong feels good right now. We just have 2 coaches. Also really cool. Those 2 coaches went through all the programs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they had to do it themselves.
They had to do it themselves. Yeah. They're certified. They're into it. They get it. They have the same thing. And I told them, the reason it's called Strong Feels Good Too, it's not called Angela Gargano. I'm like, this is about you guys too. Yep. Like, I want us all to be here. Like, they're here for you too. Like, so I think that's a big part when you're building teams. It's not, you want them to feel like a piece of it, and they are. Like, I'm like, your opinions matter. What you need, we have meetings like once a month, no matter what. Hey, what do you think we should do? What do we need to add? How are you feeling? Do you feel like this is too much? How are you feeling? Do we need to take some clients away from, like, be merely making sure that the people that you're are on your team, that you're taking care of them, because then they're going to take care of the people you have.
Yeah, no, and that's such a good approach. Like, and people will appreciate that. They'll take that to heart. As far as there's a lot of trainers that do just kind of dismiss people. They're like, hey, here's your program. Like, best of luck. I'll talk to you Friday. So taking those things into account with people is so special to them.
I think that's why they're there for so long too. Again, they're really, they really feel the love. They're like, I can't believe that we have these coaches here that are legitimately like, you didn't show up for your workout. They're like, where are you?
Today's episode is brought to you by Hotworx. I want to let you guys know about an incredible new craze going on in the Austin fitness community. It's called Hotworx. Hotworx is a virtually instructed exercise program created for users to experience the many benefits of infrared heat absorption while completing a 30-minute isometric workout or a 15-minute high-intensity interval training session. As the infrared heat penetrates your body, causing you to sweat, the isometric postures further accelerate detoxification by physically removing the toxins from your organs through muscle contraction. Hotworx is virtually instructed, has 24/7 access, and also offers easy-to-use app-based scheduling so you never have to miss a class again. Hotworx has 2 locations to serve, located at the intersection of Anderson Mill Road and FM 620 in the HEB Plus Shopping Center, and also another location in San Marcos. So stop in, tell them Austin Fitness Community sent you, and get a special free session on us, and check out Hotworx today.
Do you do like community meetups and stuff ever?
So I haven't yet, but because of everything going on, but I've been asked so many times to create like I'm probably going to do a meetup or a retreat. I put a meetup group on Meetup in Austin, because I'm going to do something at some point.
About that app.
Yeah, I'm getting a permit first. Cause again, everyone's like, you don't need a permit, just do it. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I'm going to get a permit because I'm not risking it. So I'll definitely have some groups where I meet up there. I've done some cool hosting of workouts at a couple of gyms here just because people asked me to. And that was really great, just to be with people again in person.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah. COVID ended a year and a half after it started in Texas. Everyone just stopped ignoring.
What's COVID?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, I don't think I lived with COVID the entire time, honestly. I mean, again, everyone's opinion is what they want of it, but I lived my life during COVID, and
you were saying you're traveling. Yeah.
I traveled everywhere. It was so cheap. It was so cheap. Now it's so expensive. So now I'm grounded. I'm like, this is perfect. Cause like now it's too expensive for everyone to travel.
Yeah, I've been over it. I'm glad we live here where I don't have to deal with it. Now they're talking about it coming back, and it's like, oh my gosh.
I think everyone's gonna be like, yeah, right. Yeah, they're not. Like, no one's dealing with that.
Find a new cause.
I mean, I think it's like, are you really? No one's gonna lock down again. Like that is so silly.
It was awful. Yeah, for a lot of people, so.
Okay, why is it that I was able to go everywhere and I was fine? Yeah. It's because, and a lot of my friends who were like, who did, do everything, just stay inside, which again, totally respect that, whatever you decided to do. But, they came out and they got really sick because they had no immune system. Like, I was like not washing my hands, touching everything.
I just saw,
like, give me the immunity.
I just saw a post. I think it was the New York Times. They put out a thing that was like symptoms to look, or ways to prevent the new wave of COVID or something coming. And there was not one single health tip of like living a healthier lifestyle. It was like wearing masks, stay inside, be scared of everything. And it was like, there was nothing about exercising, eating healthy, supplementing and vitamins and things like that. There's none of that. And it just, if people haven't figured it out by now, that should tell them that it's not about science or health. There's got to be an alternative motive, because why would you promote like avoiding certain things, for a virus, but not include any health tips about it. It's
there
just
was
mind-blowing.
There was more issues with people committing suicide than there really was with COVID, because they were so locked up and secluded and not outside and stuff like that. Like, let's talk about that. Like, you know, it's like the mental health issue. I mean, I feel like everyone's mental health is still really screwed up from the entire thing. You got to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, getting outside and doing those things. That you're right. And that should be the number one thing. And unfortunately in America, I just feel like, it became very tribalistic. It was very divisive. It almost stopped being about health and wellness and more about whose side you're on. Like, which is so frustrating.
It made no sense to me. And, you know, I used to, when it first started, I was never a mask person, and I was never like, really worried about it. Like the first couple of weeks I was scared because like, obviously it was, no one knew what was happening. But then after a while, like, what I was seeing on the news wasn't reflecting in reality. And I was like,
I'm like, you're telling me I need to wear this mask, but I can still touch everything.
Yeah. It just, there was things
and, like,
that weren't
not going to come in at me. Like, that's not going to happen.
Things were just not adding up. And so I just kind of dropped it. And, I just started moving on with my life. But then I started to see this like attack of like, and then the labels that were coming on everyone and the, you know, just how everything split. And then it was so bizarre to me, the whole thing. And it's still, like you said, it's still continuing today. Like, and the thing I always tell people, I had Tim Kennedy on the show, and what we were talking about is like, if you want to do that stuff, if you want to wear gloves, if you want to wear a mask, if you want to stay inside, like, hey, power to you, do what you want. Don't make everyone else stop because you want to stop. Like, I'm more than happy to take the risk. Like, I'm good.
I mean, we really don't know how long we have on this earth. And I've learned that so many times in so many situations I've been in. I want to be able to live and see and breathe and go outside. And like, that's, I feel like what most people should, and they probably do want to do that. Yeah. What's really cool when, you know, everything happened, that community I created online, like they are so close, I think, because we basically survived that whole thing together. Like as a team, we were there, we had some sense of community to hold ourselves together. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. If people, I respect anybody's opinion. And I always tell them, my friend is a doctor. She was pretty offended by the fact that I was going out and not wearing a mask while I was working out. And I was like, hey, I want to let you know, like, this is no disrespect. I appreciate everything that you do. And when you're ready to come back and be my friend again, that is legitimately totally fine. I totally get it. But for me, I'm going to live. Like, I'm going to live my life.
Today's episode is brought to you by Line 1 Nutrition. Since their inception 13 years ago, Line 1 Nutrition has steadily grown into one of the most trusted supplement companies in the world, consistently formulating groundbreaking muscle-building supplements enjoyed throughout the USA and at military bases around the world. Excellent customer service is a staple of Line 1 Nutrition and is a big reason they've maintained a dedicated customer base with clients who reorder time and again. Line 1 Nutrition's products aren't the garden variety proteins and pre-workouts found on the shelf. They've spent years developing a line custom engineered to exceed normal standards and meet every need, from mind-blowing pre-workouts to incredible joint support with CBD and even green energy Malaysian kratom, which provides fantastic stress-reducing, anti-inflammatory properties that benefit athletes of any kind. But where Line 1 has really made their mark is with their lean muscle-building supplements. No other company can match Line 1's unique, potent, proven effective muscle builders. The bottom line is, if you're serious about taking your physique to the next level, visit www.line1nutrition.com today and use code AFC15 to save 15% off your entire order.
Yep. Yeah. It's, you know, it's just gotten crazy, but I think we're on the end of it. I think people are, everyone, is kind of just burnt out. I think everyone's burnt out, on fighting and being divided and scared all the time, or like of fear of the unknown when nothing's really happening.
If you talk to most people, they all feel the same. When you see it on TV, it looks much more divided than it is. When you're talking to like the people around you, you're like, oh, everyone kind of like is like the same right now. We all kind of feel exactly.
Well, it's also become very like, it's almost like circumstantial and class based. You know, you watch like any of the award shows. Like, how does this make sense? Why are the actors and all them walking around maskless? But then you got like the servants, the little staff around them. They're all like masked up with plastic shields. It's like nothing's adding up. It doesn't make sense. It's all chaos. It's stupid. And so So kind of back on track. Oh, I can rant all day. So with your online programming and all that, do you offer like nutritional guidance as well?
So I am not a nutritionist, and I always make sure people know that. We have a nutrition challenge that's in there. It's by a nutritionist. And we just teach them the basics, because I feel like the biggest issue right now in nutrition stuff is that everybody wants something really fancy and like all this crazy stuff. Are you doing the basic stuff first?
Yeah.
Then ask for the plan after that. Like, are you cooking at home? Are you eating quality ingredients? Are you drinking your water? It's so silly and it sounds so boring and whatever, but are you doing that first?
It's the most boring part.
Because if you're doing that first, okay, then if you want to tweak it and start to do other stuff, great. But you need to do the basics first. So we teach them the basics in there, and then we do have a food sheet, so they can send in their food sheet, and we'll make tweaks on their food based on them, because everybody is so different. And I can't give you a meal plan and be like, don't do this, you're gonna like lose weight. And like, no, like it's what are you eating right now? And most of the time when people are writing the sheet, what I'm finding very fascinating is they're not eating enough. There's normally not enough food on there. So people, a lot of times people think they're eating too much. No. They're not eating enough. Especially of the good stuff. So I'm like, all right, let's cook at home. Let's take this week in 2 days this week. You're just going to cook at home. Let's start with that. Can you do that for a whole month? Because you want to be able to sustain your stuff. So yeah, we don't give them meal plans. I have a ton of nutrition coaches who I can refer them to and stuff like that. But I think it's really important to note that as well, how everyone's super different, especially on the food situation. So can you just get back to the basic? I mean, that's how everyone's like, Angela, what do you eat? Show me what you eat in a day. I'm like, I honestly am just doing the basic stuff. I literally am just cooking my food at home and drinking water. Like, I know you want to hear something like I'm doing some detox tea or adding all this stuff. I'm legitimately not doing any of that.
Yep. Pizza and bacon for me.
Yeah, I had bacon this morning. It was great.
I did too. Turkey bacon, eggs, and a bagel. I
did just do an amazing blood work panel. That's my podcast. It's really long that I was telling you about. It's 3 parts. We analyzed all my blood work and what I needed, and we added supplements based on what I needed through that. And I thought that was super cool because same thing. People are like, just take all these supplements. It's like, well, you may not need that. You may actually need this and this.
Yep. Like it's so important. I tell people all the time to go get their labs done. And I meet people all the time that like they want to do steroids, and I'm like, okay, that's your decision, but what did your blood work come back as? Oh, I don't know. I haven't even done that yet. And I'm like, in fact, actually, it's a good plug. One of the sponsors of the show is called ReGen Health and Wellness. They do all that hormone testing, labs,
amazing,
blood work. They're great, and they were actually the first people to sponsor the show. They've been on my back since the day.
I loved it. I did all of it. I also saw that I have all the antibodies, spike proteins. Let's go. Good to go. Don't mess with me. We saw stuff with my, especially endurance athletes like myself. I have an adrenal gland like issue and thyroid stuff, so they gave me stuff for that. So what's interesting is I got all the stuff that I needed, and I'm being really regimented. I'm going to do it for 30 days, then we're going to redo it, and then we're going to do another podcast to see, hey, did this work?
Yeah.
Did this actually, and what was really interesting about the blood work is that if you go to your local physician, I've done this like so many times with the blood work, they didn't give me any facts. Like they were just like, you're fine, you're healthy. They didn't say anything. I loved this guy sat down with me and was like, okay, cool. Like you're here. This is why this is happening here. This is why that's happening here. If we add some of this will help this. And I'm like, this is so helpful, because that's not what they told me when I just went to our normal doctor.
Yeah. No. And again, it's what we've talked about is like giving just that extra effort can go so far with somebody in helping them. And, the first time I got my labs done, it was the same thing. Like I had this guy, it was great. His name was Mecca, and it's a great name too. But he had explained everything in detail and was like, lay off the bananas, your potassium's high, and this is why, and these are what you need to do. And so, no, it's super helpful. I definitely agree. People need to do their labs, their blood work, get things, see where they're at, do it often too. I think where they offer Marlon usually like twice a year.
Yeah, well, it just depends on what you're into too, right? Like if you're bodybuilding or something, maybe 4 times a year or something like that, whatever you got going. But also, I think it's important to work with a doctor. If you're an athlete, like a general practitioner might not be for you. They might see that your kidney score is a little high and not realize that, okay, well, your kidneys are filtering all of the broken down muscle that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like athletes' blood work looks a tad bit different than like a 60-year-old's blood work.
Yeah. But even for the 60-year-old, right? It's so important to get their blood work, even by someone special. Cause I feel like what was cool going through is like, they don't track some of the special things that they might need to see. Again, they'll just be like, oh, you're fine. Or they'll say something is not fine, and they'll just be like, oh, let's just put you on some medicine. And instead of being like, okay, let's figure out what kind of health things we can change for your body to help you, become, feel better.
I'm terrified to do any like pharmaceutical stuff. I like supplements. Like, do you take any subs?
I'm taking a ton right now because of that thing. So I have like I feel like I have the pill case right now.
I do too, yep.
Because it's the only way I can keep track of it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm doing like the liver, I'm doing a bunch of stuff
Was it like milk thistle?
I'm doing like a liver detox, and I'm doing, ashwagandha. He said was really going to be really good for
ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha.
Yeah, ashwagandha is great for adrenal.
Yeah, so we're doing that. It said that I need to do more fish oil, so I'm doing double fish oil because I don't eat any fish. So that actually made a lot of sense, when I was putting in there. So I'm curious to see
all the linoleic acids.
I've just got like a whole pile of them, and it's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know if you guys do that. Sometimes when I take them in the morning, I'm like, this is taking a long time to swallow all of these.
I throw it all down at the same time.
I would throw it up. Like I had to I'm like sitting there just like taking one at a time.
Been doing it for a while, so yeah, you get used to it. It's super helpful though. I always tell people though, they're supplements, not substitutes. Like they're just kind of an addition to what your regimen is. It's not gonna be a magic pill or change.
You can't be like, I'm gonna take all these supplements and have 2 shakes today, and it's gonna be great. Like that's not.
I'm getting ripped. Yeah.
Yeah. It's you still got to make sure you're eating quality ingredients, and I always just look down at my plate. I'm like, do I have protein? Do I have a carb? Do I have a good fat? And then I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. It's So I know because you're kind of in a rush today. So what other like hobbies do you do outside of all the training?
So yeah, I do the training. I mean, especially being here, I'm loving like paddle boarding. I love just like cooking. Cooking's been really fun. I get Blue Apron and I just like cook it. I'm not sponsored yet. But I love just like cooking, getting outside, hiking, all those types of things. I feel like it's been wake surfing. I tried that.
Oh yeah.
I guess a lot of stuff what I do is still active no matter what, even if I'm outside, but that's a lot of like the hobbies that I do right now. Yeah.
Paddleboarding's huge out here. Everyone goes down to, what's it? Why am I blanking on the name? Ladybird. Thank you.
Yeah, and the little cluster in the middle.
Yeah, they all just chill, drink, and
everyone's just chilling.
Yeah, it's a great time. I was like, that's such dirty water though.
It does feel weird being in the water, honestly, but it was really nice. I was in there yesterday, but like you wouldn't go in the water in New York City like ever.
Are you? Do you ever go out to the lake like Travis?
So I went the other day with a couple of my friends. They took me wake surfing, and I guess I was really frustrated because I only got up on like my 8th try, but I guess supposedly it takes a lot longer than that.
I suck at it. I still can't do it. It's bad.
Oh, I'm like ready to be good at it. I'm like, all right, let's go more.
I got at the end of the month. I have Ashley Kidd coming on the show. She's a pro wake surfer.
Oh, I messaged her to teach me.
Yeah,
actually,
I'll see if we can put something together.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
I messaged her a couple of months ago. She knows my friend Grant McCarthy. He's another ninja. And he tried to link me with her to more ninjas.
I love that term because this whole time, anytime I think of ninja, I'm like karate, like spies.
Yeah, if you're going, I'm going. We're all gonna go. Yeah. I texted her the other day actually.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm super excited to have her on. I haven't officially met her yet, so it'll be the first time.
Seems like a badass. So.
Yeah, it's such a cool sport. So kind of wrapping up, where do people find you at? Like all the socials, all that.
Yeah, so I would go just my Instagram at Angela_Gargano. And then if you want to, I have a ton of freebies and stuff like that. The link I always tell people to go to is www.angela-gargano.com/strong, just lowercase. And I put everything for any podcast interviews I go on. And we got some freebies in there. We got some extra resources that you might want to use. You could just go on there.
Yeah, we'll throw it in the bios on everything, and we'll make sure that people see it. And so, but no, I know you're kind of in a rush you got a pretty busy day ahead of you. So I do appreciate you coming out. We'll definitely do this again in the future.
Yes, we're gonna go do your show. We're gonna take you to Ninja.
Oh, the Just Your Average Joe.
We're taking you to Ninja. It's happening.
I'm down. I'd do it. I'll schedule the production team ASAP. That'd be fun. I've been wanting to do it. My childhood, reliving my childhood, swinging on stuff. But cool. Well, we'll run it back soon. So Marlon, you want to take us out?